Never found a love like this. There it is. I've never found a love like this.
Hello everybody, welcome back to E20 Zone TV. I hope you're having a good Tuesday wherever you are. News has come out today, and this is why I'm here to talk about Declan Rice, our captain, our leader, the man who has been absolutely brilliant for West Ham over the last few years. It came out today that West Ham basically have said £120 million for Declan Rice, or £100 million plus a player for Declan Rice. But what do I think of it? I think it's the right move. I think he's definitely worth every single penny of that money. I think at 24 years old, I think he is. He's worth exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get a player that's just going to dominate midfields and win the ball back. Defensively, very good. Going forward, very, very good. And he's only going to get better. I was on a space earlier on. I would have loved to have spoke on there because the amount of Arsenal fans that were giving disrespect to Declan Rice's name made me physically sick and really, really angry. Declan Rice is a top-class Premier League footballer, and he does it on the international stage also, in Europe and for England. For me, when I look at Dec, it's going to be a bit of blow when he goes, but West Ham have got to cash in at the right time. And I think West Ham, for once in their lives, have got this transfer sort of under control and his contract under control. Like, they're not panicking, West Ham. They're just going to bide their time, wait. And if someone really wants Declan Rice, they will come in and basically sign him. Now, when I do look at sort of the future without Declan Rice, it's going to be very, very hard. Don't get me wrong. He's a major cog in the West Ham wheel, and he's been one of the successes over the last few years, how he's developed as a player. But we have to cash in at the right time, and we have to cash in really this year if we are going to cash in. If we don't cash in this year, then it does become a problem for West Ham. It really, really does. You've got a player on your hands that we ain't going to get £120 million for next season. But West Ham, if they do play their cards right, someone's going to come in, pay the money, which is deemed fit for him. Now, if West Ham was to receive a bid of, say, £95 million plus a player, I think I would accept that. Depending on the player and whoever it is and wherever they are, in whatever club it is, I think that's about right for West Ham. I really do. I look at it that if we do sign someone to replace Declan, it's got to be the right man. Right? Do you know what I mean? Right? We're going to have to really, really target a player and pinpoint this. Do you know what I'm saying? After what I heard earlier on a space on Twitter, I don't want him going anywhere near Arsenal. I don't think Arsenal fans really do truly appreciate Declan Rice's ability. I think they look at him and say, oh, it's Declan Rice, he's an average footballer. But for me, he's far from average. Like, and a lot of the lads could probably back this. He's a very, very good player. Like, he knows exactly what he's doing. And in a better side, he becomes a better player. I look at Calvin Phillips that Steve brings up in the chat there, and he went for £50 million. And I've seen Ward-Prowse going for £60 million. And people are comparing James Ward-Prowse to Declan Rice. And I'm thinking that's an absolute insult to every West Ham fan when you say, right, you're comparing James Ward-Prowse to Declan Rice. So for me, before I come to the chat, I look at sort of between 90 and 120. I think West Ham will get rid of him for 110, if I'm being honest. I think someone will come in for 110 and West Ham will take that money and run. Obviously, whatever they do with that money is another thing. Like with Sullivan here, we just don't know what he's going to do. Do you know what I mean? Is he going to hand all the money over to Moyes? Will Moyes be the manager next season? We really, really don't know. But I'm going to be honest, yeah, wherever he goes, I hope he gets the same love and respect as what he gets at West Ham. For me personally, I don't think Declan should go, really, like, whether you want Champions League football or not, because you can go somewhere else and you can become a player somewhere else, but you could be a legend at West Ham, that your name will live forever in West Ham history. I think if you go to an Arsenal, Manchester United, Chelsea, you're just another player to them. Do you know what I mean? Just another sort of person on the sheet. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas at West Ham, I think if he stays here, if we win the conference this year, he becomes a legend at West Ham. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm looking at it like this. Before I sort of hand over to the chat, because I see a few people in the chat, I want him to stay. I know he wants to go. I respect that he does want to go, But for me, 100 million plus is what we've got to be aiming for. If other players are being touted for 110 million pounds, like Enzo Fernandez being one of them, and let's be honest, what's Enzo done since he's been at Chelsea? Not a lot. Declan Rice is definitely worth between 100 and 120 million pounds all day long, in my opinion. So I'm going to hand it over to the chat. I'm going to hear what everyone wants to say. So chuck your thoughts in the chat, and I'll read them out and see if you agree or disagree with me. Afternoon, James. As long as we don't go for Calvin Phillips, he is shit, mate. See, the thing is, Calvin Phillips has gone to Man City and done nothing. And people have looked at him and gone, he could be the replacement for Declan Rice. I remember having this debate last year with Leeds fans, and Leeds fans saying that Declan is nowhere near on Calvin Phillips' level. It's just night and day between the two players, mate. Declan Rice is, in my opinion, world class. People don't like to say that, but I think he's world class. I think he goes into any side in the world and makes it better, and consistently performs at that level. So, yeah. Kieran reckons Arsenal and Liverpool cannot afford Declan. The only way that they can afford Declan Rice, for me personally, is if they chuck in a few players. Now, for instance, if Arsenal chucked in Smith Rowe and say £90 million, I would be up for that. Smith Rowe is a young player. Fair enough, he's got an injury at the minute, but I think he could be an absolute gem. Absolute gem. I think he's wasted at Arsenal. I don't see where he fits in there. Maybe a Tierney wouldn't be a bad shout. I mean, he got the Scottish connection if Moyes stays, but you know, whoever we do sign as like a money plus player, it has to be the right player to fit West Ham, 100%. Right, Charlie. Hope you're all well, mate. I did WhatsApp you late last night. Let me know, mate. You know what I mean? Let me know. But I will get to your question. Not gonna lie, Rice isn't worth 120, and we are never gonna get anywhere near that. I disagree, Charlie. I really, really do. I know you're a very strong advocate for him not being that sort of money. But I look at Enzo Fernandez. He's not worth the money that Chelsea paid for him. But Chelsea did pay that money for him. I look at the disrespect of £80 million for Declan Rice. And I look at Harry Maguire, who's the same money. Yeah. And I think he's nowhere near on their level. Right? Do you know what I mean? Declan's miles better than the pair of them put together. Do you know what I'm saying? I think 100 million is fair. I think 100 million, you get the player for 10 years. I think £10 million a year for Declan Rice's ability over a 10-year period, I think it's worth it. Do you know what I'm saying? If we was to get £80 million for him, then it's no real difference if we sell him next season. Do you know what I'm saying? Because if we're going to get £80 million, might as well let him go next season, and then he can go for 50 or 60. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I disagree on that, Charlie. Love ya, but disagree, mate. I still go for James Ward-Prowse. His set pieces are mustard. Yeah, he's a good player, mate. Rice is worth 100 million. Clubs just don't want to spend that on a central defensive midfielder. Yeah, I agree with you, Jay Woods, 100%. I was on the space earlier. I did say it at the start of the video, and the disrespect from Arsenal fans, like coming out and like digging out Declan, saying he's just an average player. There's other players that are better than him. People say about Caicedo at Brighton. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. Caicedo's a good player. Very, very good player. He tore us a new one when we played him. Yeah. But there is levels. And I do look at Declan, and I think Declan goes up levels to that man. Do you know what I'm saying? So, you know, so much disrespect there for him. You don't get it's like, I don't know what that says, but I'm going to go over. Right, let's go here. Why would Rice stay if we don't get a manager who can win something? I agree. I think Rice will go. Trust me. I've come to the conclusion now that in the summer I will be doing videos with the lads saying about Declan Rice and that he's left the club. Now it's where he goes that's going to irritate me more than anything, because the way Arsenal fans are treating him right now, I wish he could see it, because it's just disgusting, really. They've got so much disrespect for this man. Like he's just an average Joe Bloggs. Like comparing him to James Ward-Prowse is like comparing Marlon Harewood to fucking Mikel Antonio. It's night and day. Antonio's like been here longer, done more to Marlon Harewood, even though Charlie's met Marlon Harewood. But you know, I just don't understand it. I really don't, with the amount of disrespect it is. But I think what it is because it's West Ham United. I think they look at us and think, oh, West Ham United, small club. And this sort of big six sort of ego is just shit, really. That's why one day I'd love it if West Ham could just break into there and do the business, in my opinion. I hate for him to go somewhere else, flop, and become a Calvin Phillips version 2. I agree with you on that. Do you know that? I think Calvin Phillips has gone to City and he's been a massive flop, mate. Let's be real. And I think if that goes somewhere, is he going to get the same love as he gets at West Ham? The answer to that is definitely no. Right, West Ham fans love and adore Declan Rice, yeah. And my attitude is with it is because you don't win nothing at West Ham doesn't mean to say you can't become something at West Ham. Like for me, he would be a legend at West Ham. Like if he stayed here the same amount of time as Mark Noble, he will outdo Mark Noble and become a legend at West Ham. His name will forever be in West Ham folklore. And as I said previous, if he goes anywhere else, I just don't see how he's going to be treated with the same amount of love and respect as he is at West Ham. I really don't. Do you know what I mean? I look at him at West Ham and I think he leads us. He's a born leader. He's got a standard at West Ham that I do like to see. Like he's got this sort of, he doesn't accept sort of mediocre. I know he wants to go and play Champions League. I know he wants to go and do things, but you know, sometimes like the grass ain't always greener. I remember back in the day, Scott Parker was a big thing at Charlton. Yeah, went to Chelsea and then he went to Newcastle and then he ended up at West Ham and he sort of career dived from Charlton to West Ham. So you know, it's just one of them ones. Sometimes the grass ain't always greener. It might look a lot better, but it ain't always better when you get there. I think we will win that conference. There is a slim chance he signs a year extension to West Ham and don't lose no money. I agree with you, Drainhole. I 100% agree on that, yeah? And I'll tell you the reason why. I know for a fact Declan won't do West Ham dirty. That's one thing I will say. He's got too much respect for West Ham. He's got too many people who he's involved with at West Ham. And he's got respect, Declan, yeah? So he's never going to hand in a transfer request. He's never going to say... He's going to say he would like to leave, like if a big club comes in, but he will not force a move out in that aspect. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, I think West Ham hold all the keys. Like I'm seeing stuff on Twitter and social media from Arsenal fans and saying that he's not worth this and West Ham don't hold the keys for Declan Rice. We do. And for once, I'm going to give a praise to David Sullivan so he can clip this. Yeah, David Sullivan and the ball deserve a bit of credit because they've handled this one with Declan perfect. Yeah, about time and all. Yeah, because there's so many times that we've let players go for cheap, but they know what Declan's worth and they've got that contract written up in a way to say, you know what, yeah, let them come to us rather than us just giving them this geezer away. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. No club pays more than 75, and you can hold me to that. Toby, I will hold you to that, mate. I'm going to be real. He's worth more than £75 million. When I look at Enzo Fernandez at another club, right, and I look at Grealish, now fair enough, Grealish is at Man City, but then are you telling me he's worth £15 million more than Calvin Phillips? Not for me. Not for me at all. I think he's just far better than that. So, you know, I will hold you to that, Toby. You ain't having Smith Rowe, he's ours. I know, mate, I know. But do you know what? I look at Arsenal's team, I look at him, and there was mention a while ago from a few people that I know, like Arsenal fans, saying that he could be on his way out because I just don't see where he fits, especially with Eldegaard in there. And if they develop more players, i.e. bring more players in the summer, where does he fit, Smith Rowe? Now, he would be a player. He does get injured, though. I will say that. Right, what we got here? Something like that. We'll look at my WhatsApp now, lad. Thank you very much, mate. What we got? Enzo was a release clause, and there weren't no negotiation. I agree. But if West Ham don't get the money that is deemed fit for him, then what I can see is him saying, right, I signed a contract, put a release clause of 100 million in there. Yeah, he will do. I'll tell you the best way of describing it. He will do exactly what Jack Grealish done with Villa, because Jack Grealish was a Villa fan. He loved Villa. He wanted to leave to obviously go to another club and better himself and etc. So what he done, he made Villa put in a release clause and literally force the bigger club's hand. Do you mean say, right, come and get me? I'm here, but you've got to pay the money. And I think that's what West Ham will do. I'm being honest. I really, really do. Sullivan can keep up in the price. Arsenal will pay if we want him. Well, let's hope so, mate, because he's definitely worth it. I don't know about you, Mr. Arsenal, but I'll be honest, Dec's worth every penny of it, mate. Like, for me personally, I think wherever he goes, he betters that team. Betters that team like no end. Do you know what I'm saying? So, you know, it has to be done. What you said about Enzo is true. Enzo is also a different type of player. He's much more well-rounded. Oh, I don't know about that, Charlie. God, dear. Disrespect for Declan Rice today is unreal. Who can do what Declan does with the potential more to come on the basis 100 million is a bargain? I agree. I really, really do. Declan can play in multiple positions. He can play in defence, in a back three. He can play CDM, central midfield, attacking midfield. What more do you want for 100 million? Do you know what I mean? No one besides West Ham really appreciate how good Dec is, which makes me wonder who is thinking he's better. He shows he can play against the best and make them look average, worth every penny. Totally agree with Alan. Totally agree with Alan on that. Do you know what I mean? The other day against Casemiro, and I had Manchester United fans on Twitter Spaces like digging me out when I was backing Declan Rice, saying Declan Rice ain't world class. Now, Casemiro is world class, people will say to me. Yeah, Casemiro is world class. He's this, like, he's done it at Real Madrid. I could go and put in Declan Rice in Real Madrid's team in their prime, and he would look world class. Doesn't mean to say he is world class though. Do you know what I'm saying? But Dec is world class. Like, he runs games for West Ham, right? And if he does not run games, he's an influence in most of the games. Do you know what I mean? There's only a handful of times this season where I can look at him and go, where was he today? Right? But then you've got to look at it. Declan Rice has played an incredible amount of football over the last sort of 10 months. He's played in every game in the conference for us, really. He's played in the World Cup. He's played in the Premier League. He played FA Cup, League Cup. He played everything. Do you know what I mean? So you can give him benefit of doubt on that. Just because other clubs have overpaid for a player doesn't mean that they will for Rice. I think he will go for probably 80 million-ish. If he goes for 80 million pounds, then there's no point really selling him, mate, if I'm being honest. Because if you're telling me he's worth 20 million pounds more than reported 60 million that James Ward-Prowse is, then I can't have it, Charlie. I really can't. If you're telling me Enzo Fernandez is worth 110 million pounds and Declan's only worth 80, I don't see the logic in that. I really don't, mate. Really, really don't. Love ya. We don't. Breaking news. West Ham. I'm never going to pronounce his name, madam. If Kadinsky's involved, I mean, back Kadinsky. I want Rice. He's Premier League proven. He lives in London. He knows the England players at the club, so he will settle in perfectly. Yeah, I agree, mate. I really do. We're using the sale of Bellingham as a benchmark for Rice. I've got to pay the cash. He's 24, no injuries, and he's worth 120 million. I agree, 100%. He don't get injured. That's one thing I will say. He plays every single game for West Ham, as good as. Do you know what I'm saying? And if Bellingham's going for that amount of money to Real Madrid, why can't we? It's because people look at us and think small club when we're not. Do you know what I mean? We've got Daniel Kadinsky. So, yeah, we will move on. Exactly, James. If Fernandez is at Chelsea went for 100 million, there's no way they're for less. I agree. It's impossible for Rice to be a flop. He's made it look easy, and what he does is top class. I agree, Mandy, on that, 100%. But what Dec does in a West Ham shirt, yeah, is the best we've seen for a long time as a central midfielder. Like, I can't really remember. Maybe Michael Carrick back in the day, but I think Michael Carrick left at the time before he sort of become a really, really good player. But Dec, he goes somewhere else, he instantly improves their team. Do you know what I mean? My ideal destination for Declan Rice would be Manchester City under Pep. Yeah, I know full well that the City fans will appreciate Declan Rice. Yeah, and Man City will pay the money. They believe if they get rid of Gundogan in the summer, I think it's an ideal replacement. I think City will go out, spend the money to bring him to the club. And you know what? It's an instant trophy success for him there. If he goes to Arsenal, are they going to win trophies? The answer to that is possibly, but you just never know. While Man City are still in the game, if you can stop Man City, then you've got a chance of winning something. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. My sense is Man City might be the option, and they might be a mini bidding war. Yeah. Yes, 100%. You have to be dumb or deluded to think he is not world class. He gives a team world class performances for the next 10 years. So 100 million at a top six club is a good deal. I agree, Wolf of Wolf Street, 100%. Like I look at it, it's perfect value. Listen, if we get 100 million pounds for him, say, yeah, and it's over a 5 year period, we get sort of say 20 million pound a year for him, because it ain't going to be West Ham. West Ham ain't going to get 100 million pound up front. That's one thing I will say. Right, I'll be very, very shocked if a team dropped 100 million pound in West Ham's lap and says, "Here you go, it's 100 million pound outright." Yeah, but 80 million pounds for him or less than that is an insult. I think it's just an absolute insult to a player. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't understand what more he's got to do to be an 100 million pound player. And that is a question to the people in the chat who think he's less than 100 million pounds. If you think he's less than 100 million pounds, tell me now what he's got to do to become an 100 million pound player, because I don't see what else he can do. Do you know what I'm saying? He can play in every position going. Do you know what I mean? He's scoring goals now. I'd like to hear it. I really would. What we've got here? Rice is 100 is made. Otherwise, he's going to go nowhere for the next 2 seasons. I agree on that. Well, what's that? Would you be happy if Rice went for free? I know that's nice to Steve, but I will answer that. No. The answer to that, Charlie, is no, I wouldn't. But I think he's worth 100 million right now. If you look at him right now, just for argument's sake, he goes and wins the conference with West Ham United. You have got to say he's worth 100 million pound player. Do you know what I mean? West Ham haven't won a trophy in 43 years, and he's been captain for the last 2 years. He's got to be worth 100 million. He has to be. In this today's market and the way inflation is at present, he has got to be up there as a 100 million pound signing. Has to be. 80 million would be terrible. I agree. I really, really do. Afternoon, Jazz. I hope you're all well, mate. I'll be happy to let Rice go for free if we kept him for 2 more seasons. Cool. I don't know about that, mate. I don't know about that. It'd be very hard to let him go for free. But I don't think Declan would do us dirty like that, though, mate. If I'm being honest, I really, really don't. I don't think Declan would run his contract down. I think he would say to him, give us a contract, put a release clause in it, and make it a reasonable one, and then, do it that. James, this week I'm going to Europe and then the Peterborough playoffs. What a week for football. 1,000, enjoy, mate. Be safe. What we got here? It's just bounced on me. What's going on? Let's go. Right, I've got to go back up to the top, but it is what it is. Where are we? I just missed it. Right, if I've missed anyone's comment, I do apologise, but I'll start off here with Anthony. I love Rice, and West Ham will prevail without him. The bigger issue is how do we replace Antonio? Moyes cannot set up a team without him. Well, Antonio, do you know what? It's an interesting one with Antonio, but West Ham need to make sure that whatever money they get for Rice, they have to spend it in all the areas possible. You know what I mean? Let's have a look. Steve, that's the only thing is he has to offer. Let's go down here. Let's have a look. City's fake fans won't appreciate him. I don't know though, company. I really don't, mate. I look at a lot of other fans just don't look at Rice the same way we do. Yeah, and I don't know what more he has to do. I really, really don't to be a class as a top class player. Do you know what I mean? Now, when I look at England midfielders, yeah, he's the best one for me out of the lot of them. Is he better than Jude Bellingham? In my eyes, yes. I think he does a lot more than what Jude does. Don't get me wrong, Jude scores goals, granted, but defensively, awareness and positional play, Declan is excellent. Let's be real. And if Gareth Southgate never took him off against Italy, we would have won the Euros. But we won't talk about that. Remember, he's our club captain and he's English tax on players. He goes for 100 million plus. Agree with Reece. Are you surprised that we haven't heard much from Mark Noble? Not really. Not really. But this is why I don't feel that Declan will ever do West Ham dirty, because Mark's there. Yeah, Mark's brought him up through the ranks. Mark's probably saying to him, you need to find the best club for you. Yeah. And they're probably going to turn around and have a discussion, in my opinion. And they're probably going to say, right, you got to do what's best for you. If you want to go and better yourself, by all means, go and better yourself. Yeah. But West Ham have to look at it from a business aspect and go, right, we've got this man, we're exactly where we want him, and the clubs who want him have to come to us and say, give us something. Do I think a team will drop 100 million on West Ham? I think we're going to get cash plus players. It would not surprise me if West Ham get a couple of players plus cash for Declan Rice. Now, whoever them players are remains to be seen, yeah? But I just don't think the clubs at the minute, any clubs really, can afford to drop £100 million on one player right now. I think a lot of clubs have to do a lot of business. I think Manchester United, I'll go through them quickly. Manchester United, for me, have to do a lot more business than just a central defensive midfielder. I think Liverpool are looking for midfielders. Yeah, they need more than one. I look at City. If Gundogan goes at the end of the season on a free, then they will be looking for a midfielder. Do you know what I'm saying? But is Calvin Phillips that man to come in and do that job for them? Remains to be seen. He ain't going to Tottenham. Arsenal is an interesting one, like the project there, but I don't see, no disrespect to any Arsenal fans, but I don't see where Arsenal are going to win a trophy anytime soon. Right? They could have had to win a trophy this season. They haven't. I think City are going to walk away with it. So if Liverpool improve, City improve, I don't see where the gap is. Newcastle is a shout, and not yet for me. I think Newcastle would come in for him. But if this was 2 years down the road, I think Newcastle would. You know what I mean? So, we will see there. He's brilliant now and still has a couple of years before he reaches his peak. Definitely worth 120 million there. I agree with everyone, mate. I'm so excited for the semi-final on Thursday now. The only thing I'll worry about is crying in front of everyone if we get into the final. Don't worry about that, Wolf. I always cry. Everyone knows that. I was close when we got into semis from Europa, yeah. Rice won't be worth 8 million until he does it in the Champions League, realistically. Oh, I don't know about that, mate. I don't know about that. I really don't. I really, really don't. Like, he's done it, so what? To answer Charlie's question, I don't know whether Charlie's trolling me or something, but, I love him anyway. But he's done it in Europe for the last 2 years, Charlie. Like, he's done it in the Europa League. He's done it in the Conference League. Like, he's done it on the international stage. He's done it in the Premier League. Like, I don't see where one other competition, and let's be honest, the Champions League, I heard it earlier on today, and I make someone 100% right. The Champions League isn't the, be-all and end-all now. Like, I look at the teams in it now. Look at Inter Milan and AC Milan. Who would have thought them two would have got to a semi-final? Like, you look at Barcelona, not the same team. There's only really 2 or 3 teams in it that are powerhouses. Bayern Munich, Manchester City and Real Madrid. Right, I don't see anyone else really in it. Chelsea ain't the same force as they once were. Who else is there? I've said Barcelona. I've said Dortmund. Not the same team. Do you know what I mean? So it's just, everything seems lighter now. Do you know what I mean? So I think he has done it in Europe, Charlie. I will say that. Would you rather Rice stays for 2 seasons and we see what happens? Obviously, we need a new manager as soon as possible. That may help. Would I like to see him stay? I would like to see him stay, but West Ham have to look at the bigger picture. If he is going to go and he does want to go, you can't keep a player who really wants to seek a new challenge somewhere else. I will say that. But it all depends how much money we get for him and how much money that we're going to get to spend on the replacement. Because I'm going to be real, yeah, for how much credit I will give the board for the way they've handled this Declan Rice situation, they can easily take that away if they get the money and only give a new manager or Moyes 60 million. Yeah, because it would not surprise me. West Ham dropped 160 million last season, and I've never seen that in my life at West Ham, ever. Yeah, and anyone in the chat will probably agree with me. I've never seen us drop that amount of money in one sort of window. Now, a lot of people have said, and I do agree with them slightly, is that the money that for the Declan Rice transfer? But have West Ham already spent that money and they're going to recruit rate that this summer with Dec? If that is the case, then we've got a problem because we're still lacking in certain aspects. Like defensively, we need a lot of players in defence. Centre halves, we need a left back, we need a decent right back who's going to be sort of reliable. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I don't really want him to go for free, but then I don't want him to sort of go for peanuts either. So, Charlie is saying it isn't even worth 80 million yet. Come on, dudes, you must be trolling. He's worth more than 80 million. I should have said. He's definitely trolling us. 80 million, at least 120. I agree. Other clubs have seen that Rice is a bug-prone League Two player. Yeah. James, if we get to the final, what booze are you going to be watching it in? Oh, I'll be in some establishment. I will be in some establishment somewhere. If you were trying to buy a player who got into the semi-final of the Europa League and then asked for 120 million, we would call them deluded. But he's done it, Charlie. I agree with what you're saying, but he's definitely worth exactly that. He's definitely worth 120 million pounds to me, right? When you look at him, what more has he got to do other than Champions League, right? To me, he can't do any more. Do you know what I'm saying? It just seems like 80 million pounds is an insult, really. To every West Ham fan out there, it's an insult, right? To say 80 million pounds of Declan Rice. He's not worth 80 million pounds. He's worth a lot more than that. Do you know what I'm saying? And then when I look at other players going for massive amounts of money, I mean huge amounts of money, like if you're comparing Declan Rice to Harry Maguire, and this is Harry Maguire 4 years ago, sorry, I've got to disagree, mate. Got to disagree there with you, Charles. At least we have 100 million to spend in the summer. I can't see us spending anything else apart from what we profit from in the summer. I agree. I really do. Let's get down here. Let's have a look. If we get new owners soon, we have a bit of ambition. They might need to keep Dex and Paqueta and build a team around them. I don't think a new owner's coming. I see something the other day, and what I believe is I don't think Sullivan's selling anytime soon, which is a pain in the arse, really. Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, the death of David Gold was very, very sad, and I think a lot of that's going to be backdated now with like probate and things like that. And I just don't think Sullivan has any reason to sell. He looks at West Ham now and what West Ham are doing right now. And if West Ham go and win the conference, they're back in Europe again for a third season, and he can sort of up the price even more. Do you know what I mean? Which is a pain, especially for us fans who don't like him. I'm not trolling. I'm just being honest and realistic. If we were trolling, I'd say something much more wild. Yes, I know what you're saying, mate. Let's get down here. James, you should do a sell and keep show and near the transfer window. It'd be interesting to see what you, Lucas, and Mitch think. It's all in plans. Wolf of Wolf Street. It's all in plans. I've got it all rigged up for the summer. We're going to do it in the summer. We are going to get all the lads together, do it. It's going to be some heated discussions. Probably Cyber will be on the list somewhere along the line, but yeah, I will be doing it, mate. I think what Charlie is saying is that he's worth 120 million to us, but not as market price. I agree. Yeah, one thing I will say, I do agree with Charlie on that. He is worth 120 million pounds to us, 100%. Like, he really is. But I think 80 million pounds for a fee for him. If we got two players for him plus 80 million pounds, I could accept that. If we get 80 million pound plus one player, I think that would be the line where I'd go, okay, I think we've just got it, depending on the player that we're getting. You know what I mean? I think if we get, just for argument's sake, Chelsea come in and said we give you 80 million pounds, but we give you Conor Gallagher and Broja. Yeah, I would probably go with that. I probably would, because I look at the 80 million pounds. You've got a striker there who's young. Gallagher is a player that could develop into a better player. I think he's wasted at Chelsea. Or if he went to somewhere like Man City, and Man City said, right, we'll give you X amount plus a couple of players. Like, West Ham have to be smooth on this one, though. Like, I just think settling for 80 million pounds is like admitting defeat, in my opinion. It really is. United overpaid for Maguire, and we all agree with that. A completely different scenario, though. Oh, I don't know about that, Charles. I don't know about that, son. Imagine the scenes if we signed. Imagine the scenes if he signed a year extension and we lift the cup. Yeah, I know, mate. What would be beautiful is West Ham win the conference, and he comes out and says, "I'm going to sign a new deal." And obviously, in the deal, there's a release clause, and then it puts the other clubs around the world to rights basically and says, "Right, I'm here. I want to stay here, but I will leave for a Champions League club if you pay the money." And the way I look at it is, people make out it's like it's their money, it's the club's money. And I see people like signing players for 70, 80 million pounds, and I think they're nowhere near on Deck's level, nowhere near. Absolutely not. £80 million for and Gallagher and Broja as well, bro. Come on, how much are you valuing Gallagher and Broja? Well, Broja for me is worth £20 million, and Gallagher's worth about five. So yeah, Charles. I want to take both of them. Do you know what I mean? I want to take both of them. So who at this point in time is £100 million player if there isn't? Good question, Draynell. You know what I mean? I look at him as like if you look at Jude Bellingham, for instance, and what he's doing now, by the looks of it, he's going Real Madrid, and the amount of money that he's going there for, West Ham will use that as to their advantage and say, well, look at him. Jude Bellingham's gone now. Declan Rice has been at West Ham. He's Premier League proven. He's in Europe. Do you know what I'm saying? You've got to be. He's definitely worth 100 million. I'll tell you that now. Players exchanges hardly happen anymore because of players' licensing agents quite rightly want to of deals with their clients. Yeah, I agree with Toby there on that. So you want a player worth 5 million? Charlie, I'm not saying anything more on the matter, bro. Anything more than that. But for me, to round this up for me, is that West Ham have got this contract under wraps. They really have. Do you know what I'm saying? I see how this Chelsea fan is here. £60 million max. Don't do drugs. Stay off drugs, please. And that is for one of his legs. You know what I mean? It's another 60 million for the other one. Is Rice being Premier League proven worth more or less than Bellingham being Champions League proven? Now that's a good question, right? That's a very good question. For me, Premier League proven says a lot. Absolute says a lot. Do you know what I mean? You can be Champions League proven. That doesn't mean to say that you're world class, does it? Do you know what I'm saying? You look at some players who play, right? Would you say, for argument's sake, and I've just brought him up in conversation, that Conor Gallagher is Champions League proven? He's played in the Champions League for Chelsea. Are we signing a Champions League player if we was to sign Conor Gallagher? Do you know what I'm saying? The answer to that is no. Yeah, I don't really look at Champions League because Champions League can deceive you, very much so. The English Premier League is the best league on the planet. I think we'd all agree on that. Yeah, there's no other league better than the English Premier League. Now, if Declan Rice is top of certain stats in the Premier League, that has to come into question. It really does. So I think being Premier League proven and doing it on the European stage, i.e. Europa League, Europa Conference League, and on the international stage, you have got to give him some credit. And because he has not done it in one competition, I think there's a level of disrespect there for him, personally. I really do. Right. Chelsea, you can have Souček for 60 million. Yeah, flog Souček. That's what I'll say. Bellingham is La Liga proven. Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. What else we got here? Hammers, there only been 7 transfers of 100 million ever. Yeah. Well, hopefully it's 8, Charlie. I will say that. Do you know what I'm saying? Let's have a look, see if there's any other comments here. What we got? If I missed any. For me, to round this up, I'm going to say this, is in regards of Deck, obviously, I am glad that he sort of... I looked at the video the other day, for instance, yeah? I looked at how sort of humble he is around sort of other fans and the young fan who was crying and Deck come over giving me his shirt, like sort of comfort the geezer, like to say, you know what, it's all right. It will be a sad day when he goes, trust me. A lot of fans will be gutted, actually going, I'll be one of them. I'll be real. You know what I mean? Because what he's given us over the last sort of 5-6 years, however long he's been at West Ham, like in the first team and around the first team, he's been brilliant. He's been brilliant. And Joe, what's going to hurt more than anything is if he goes to another club and when he returns, that's going to, like, for me personally, I'd like to see him go abroad, if I'm being honest. I would like to see him in another Premier League club, but it's going to happen. He's going to go to a Premier League club. And it will be a sad day, just for me. It will be a very, very sad day, and it'll be a day we've been dreading for a long time. We've been, as West Ham fans, we've known that this has been coming. So we've got to sort of embrace it and, accept it, basically. Let's get to your final comments before I wrap this up. Right, let's get to Charlie's comment. Charlie Walsh, you know what I mean? 120 million would make Declan the third most expensive player of all time, and something mad like that. This might be controversial. He isn't on Mbappe or Neymar's level. But I will say this, Charlie. I agree with you on that. He's not on Mbappe or Neymar's level. But in regards of defensive midfielders, as one of the best in the world currently, in a team that got to a final of the Euros, got to a quarterfinal of the World Cup, I believe he's definitely worth at least £100 million, mate. And for his age and for what he brings into the Premier League. Would he go for 120? I don't think he will. I think West Ham are using that. I don't think West Ham are going to be trying to price him out of a move. I really don't. I think West Ham are being literally realistic and saying, well, drop us an offer. Now, if West Ham get an offer of 95 million, are they going to moan about it? I don't think they will, but 80 million or less than that is a crime, in my opinion. Absolute crime. The only other thing I haven't mentioned is Dec's personality. That's worth fuming as well. Yeah, I agree. I really do. Fun fact that the little lad goes to my school. Taught him this morning he was made up. Oh, that's good, man. That's good. Trust me. It's just nice to end the season on a high. We, as fans, deserve this after what we have watched this season. Yeah, I agree on that, mate. Really do. I'll let Steve and Charlie have a discussion. Grealish is not worth 100 million, but he was to Villa and City paid the price. Declan is not worth 120, but he is to us. We will sell him. He will sell for 100. I agree. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Why did the other account get timed out? It's just, I don't know. I mean, the British lifestyle blogger. Welcome. He's 24 with 200 games, and his injury record is nearly perfect. I agree, mate. Like, I don't know how much more I've got to convince Charlie Walsh. Me and Charlie Walsh are going to have a discussion about this. Like, we'll have to hook up a stream and get Charlie Walsh on. We'll have to have a discussion about that. Because you were talking rubbish, mate. He's worth what people are willing to pay. It's the market now. Yeah, listen, I agree. I really agree. Dec is priceless to us, but what will he be? What will be, will be. Yeah, I agree, mate. I really, really do. Right, I'm going to wrap this up here. My final thought, as I always do on E20, is this. Declan Rice has to be sold for the right fee. That's one thing I will say. £120 million, I think West Ham have dropped that in there to test the waters and say, right, who wants to come and pay the money for him? Now, as I've said in this stream before, and I say it again, I don't think a club's going to come in and pay that sort of money. Right? I think they're going to pay about 100 million. But I've said it for a long time. I said it to Mitch and a few others. Basically, I can see a player plus cash deal. Right? I really can. I don't think any of the big six have got the money right now. Probably only Manchester City to come in and drop £100 million on one man. I just don't see that. It ain't Arsenal's move, really. Yeah, Arsenal don't go out and spend vast amounts of money on one man. You know what I mean? They want Declan Rice, but I can see them dropping a few players to us and then giving us something like 60 million. I really can. I look at him and I want him to go somewhere where, where he's going to be a success. I really do. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's going to be hard when he does go. Don't get me wrong. But we love him at West Ham. Like, I love him. Alfie loves him. We all love him at his club. Yeah. But, what will be, will be. And West Ham will just carry on as normal. Do you know what I'm saying? But whatever happens, one thing I will say is the money that we get for him has to be spent to improve this squad. If the money that we get for him isn't bursted into the squad, then there is times of a riot at West Ham. There really is. Do you know what I'm saying? But we will see what happens there. Before I go, please do smash a like on the video. Goes a long way. Like, your likes matter. E20 likes matter. So please do smash a like on the video. And please do subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. Right. And I will tell you what's coming up this week also before I go. Tomorrow night, Tom, WestHamOnline will be doing a preview on E20. Yeah, they'll be talking about AZ Atmar, and what they're expecting. Tom's got all these facts and fictions all ready to go for tomorrow night. Thursday today. Thursday's the move, and Thursday's the biggest game of the season for West Ham by a country mile. AZ Alkmaar at home. Big game. Right, West Ham, please turn up in this one. I believe West Ham go through AZ. I really do. I really do. I believe West Ham are going to do a demolition job on this team. I think they're vibing a little bit now after the Man United game. They know what it means, and I think they will learn from Frankfurt last season. I really do. And I think West Ham will turn up, and I can see a 2 or 3-0 win here. I really can. AZ are all out there, 2 of their best players, and yeah, I can see West Ham doing it. I really can. And so obviously Thursday night, watch along, after thought, player ratings, you name it, we're on it, and that is it on Thursday. Hopefully, we'll all be celebrating a West Ham win, and hopefully we are 1 foot into the final, but we will see. Anyway, have a good Tuesday wherever you are on this planet, and take care of yourselves. And as Jerry Springer said, who sadly passed away the other week, take care of yourselves and each other. Take care. Peace.
There it is. I've never found a love like this.